Hey fellow chess learners, welcome to our channel Pawnception, January 1985, Wijk aan Zee, Netherlands, a coastal town known for its biting North Sea winds and, more importantly, for hosting the Wimbledon of chess. Inside the tournament hall, the atmosphere is electric. Two titans of the board sit across from one another. On one side, Alexander Big Al Beliavsky, a Soviet powerhouse, a former world championship candidate, and a man who played chess with the crushing inevitability of a glacier. On the other side, Dr. John Nunn, an Englishman, an Oxford mathematician, and a man who treated the chessboard not as a battlefield, but as a laboratory for chaos. Today, we aren't just watching a game. We are watching a collision of philosophies. It is the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. This is the story of a game so violent, so creative, and so mathematically daring that it remains etched in the annals of chess history. Beliavsky opens with the queen's pawn, the hallmark of a strategic, principled player. It says, "I want control." Nunn responds with the knight to f6, the most flexible reply in the book. He isn't committing his pawns yet. He is waiting to see where the Soviet master places his stakes. Beliavsky plays c4. Nunn is going for the king's Indian defense. This is a hypermodern approach. Now the intentions are clear. Instead of fighting for the center with pawns immediately, Nunn is going to let Beliavsky occupy it, intending to undermine that center later like a demolition expert scouting a building's foundation. Beliavsky develops his knight, preparing to seize more space. Nunn fianchettos his bishop. This bishop on g7 is the soul of Nunn's position. It's a long-range sniper, staring down the long diagonal toward the center of the board. The big center is established. Beliavsky has a massive footprint in the middle with pawns on c4, d4, and d4. To a casual observer, white looks dominant, but Nunn's d6 pawn is a stop sign, preventing white from pushing further and preparing his own counterstrikes. This is the same-ish variation. By placing a pawn on f3, Beliavsky is building a concrete wall. He is telling Nunn, "I know you want to attack my king. I am going to blunt your bishop and prepare a massive storm of my own on the other side." Nunn castles, making his king safe. Beliavsky develops his bishop to a powerful post, reinforcing d4. Nunn responds by bringing his knight to d7. This is a classic king's Indian move. The knight is modest here, but it's versatile, ready to support a central break or hop to the king's side. Beliavsky puts his queen on d2. The first strike, Nunn finally challenges the giant's center. By playing c5, he forces Beliavsky to make a decision. Do you trade pawns and open the board, or do you push forward? Beliavsky chooses to close the center, gaining space. But in doing so, he gives Nunn a permanent hook for his pieces. The black knight hops into e5, perching right in the heart of white territory. It's an annoying fly that Beliavsky cannot easily strike away. Beliavsky prepares to expand on the king's side with h3. Nunn moves his other knight to h5. This is deeply provocative. Nunn is eyeing the f4 square and the g3 weakness. It's a high-stakes game of chicken. Beliavsky moves back his bishop to f2 to change its route. The explosion. Nunn refuses to be pushed around. By playing f5, he blows the position wide open. He is telling the Soviet master, "You think your king is safe behind those pawns? Think again." White captures, expecting Nunn to recapture with a pawn to keep his structure. Instead, black lifts his rook. It's a provocative move. He is inviting the white pawns to come forward, dangling his pieces like bait in front of a shark. g4. Beliavsky can't resist. It's a double attack on the rook and the knight. In the Soviet school, if you see a way to win material for free, you take it and then out-technique your opponent in the end game. But Nunn has no intention of playing an end game. Rx f3, the move that shook Wijk aan Zee. Nunn doesn't move the rook. He gives it away for a mere pawn. This is an exchange sacrifice, but it's more than that. It's a tactical demolition. He is ripping the floorboards out from under the white king. Beliavsky takes the piece, but look at the cost. His king's side is a graveyard of open files. Nunn's queen enters the game with a terrifying X-ray rule through the f-file. The threat isn't just a move. It's the total paralysis of white position. White moved his knight to e4. He seems unsure. Nunn develops with a gain of time. Every move is a punch. He develops the bishop while attacking Beliavsky's queen. The Soviet master is being forced to dance to an English rhythm. White queen moves to c2 to avoid the bishop's threat, but looks totally baffled with that adjustment. The black queen settles into f4 like a predator. Look at the board. Beliavsky is up a rook and a knight for a pawn, but his king is suffocating. Nunn's pieces are perfectly coordinated. While Beliavsky's army is scattered and tripping over its own feet, White puts bishop on e2, threatening the black's queen. Another explosion. None isn't just winning. He is erasing Beliavsky's defenders. He gives up the rook again, this time to eliminate the bishop that was guarding the White king's personal space. It's a total clearance sale of black's heavy material for White's safety. White knight eliminates the rook, reducing the black's attack. But the black knight lands like a physical blow. The king is checked and forced to move. This is the moment Beliavsky realized he wasn't just in a tough game. He was in a nightmare. The White king is forced to the center of the board, usually the most dangerous place to be in the middle game. Nunn's queen moves to h4, eyeing the f2 square and keeping the white pieces pinned in a state of claustrophobic terror. Beliavsky is trying hard to bring things to work out, but with the move he is playing, he looks disoriented. The knight move to d3 looks out of touch. Nunn brings his final minor piece into the attack. The bishop on f5 pins the knight on d3 against the queen. It's a textbook example of total piece coordination. Every single one of Nunn's pieces is working in harmony to strike a single point. Beliavsky moves his knight on c1, tries to retreat, to regroup, to find some air. But Nunn plays the ice-cold knight move to d2. The knight returns to the heart of the white position, like a spy who has successfully infiltrated the bunker. It attacks the rook and the bishop, and more importantly, it cuts the white army in half. A desperate attempt at counterplay. White opens lines on the king's side, hoping for perpetual threats, some miracle, anything. When you are under attack, activity feels like oxygen. Black calmly recaptures. No panic, no weakening. The structure holds. The attack continues uninterrupted. White finally completes development. The bishop enters the game far too late. Like a firefighter arriving after the building has already collapsed inward. Material begins to come back. The knight grabs a pawn, but more importantly, it cements dominance in the center. Black is no longer down material in spirit, only on paper. White 6 consolidation. Queens are exchanged in thought, if not in reality. This move tries to neutralize threats, but it also reveals the truth. White has no active plan left. Another check. The knight steps forward with perfect timing, forcing the king yet again to move. Black dictates the rhythm. White merely follows. The white king steps into the open. Not because it wants to, but because it must. There is no shelter anywhere else on the board. The queen claims the center like a monarch returning to a conquered capital. From here, she controls everything: diagonals, files, escape squares. This isn't checkmate, but it's close enough to taste. Beliavsky blocks, braces, hopes. It's a final attempt to resist the pressure, to interpose a piece between the king and the inevitable. This move says everything about the position. Nunn doesn't force anything. He organizes. The rook steps onto the f-file, protecting key squares and preparing the final coordination. When an attacker pauses to improve a piece, it means the opponent has no threats left. Control has replaced urgency. Beliavsky tries one last, desperate lunging check on the g-file. The rook lifts, hinting at counterplay. Maybe a check, maybe a distraction. It's the chess equivalent of taking a breath before going under. But Nunn doesn't even flinch. He plays nc2, knight jumps again, relentless, precise. This move attacks critical squares and threatens devastating discoveries. The knight has been the real hero of this game, dancing through white position like it owns the place. Beliavsky takes back his king, hoping against reason that something has changed. But nothing has. The net is fully drawn. The final blow. Nunn's bishop captures the knight, and with it, the last shred of Beliavsky's resistance. If white takes back, the queen falls. If he moves the king, the game ends in a swift, brutal mate. This wasn't just a win for John Nunn. It was a manifesto. It proved that even against the most disciplined, cold logic of the Soviet school, human creativity and calculated aggression could triumph. Nunn's victory in 1985 remains one of the most celebrated King's Indian attacks in history. It propelled him to the very top of the world rankings and cemented his reputation as one of the most dangerous tacticians to ever play the game. For Beliavsky, it was a rare, humbling moment, a reminder that in chess, as in life, sometimes the most logical move is the most dangerous one to make. Chess is often called a game of war, but in the hands of John Nunn on that cold January day, it was something more. It was art. It was math. It was a riot. What do you think? Was Beliavsky too greedy, or was Nunn simply playing on a level no one could match? Let me know in the comments below. If this game stirred something in you that quiet or only chess can bring, then stay with us. Because here, we don't just replay move, we relive moments where genius dared to dream. Subscribe and step into a world where every game tells a story and every move has a heartbeat.